Hello everyone, this is Jeff Pitts coming to you with the help of Utah State University's recording services. Want to give a shout out to them and appreciate them for letting us use this so that we can record all these trainings and allow you to view them at your convenience and also allow you to view all of them in their entirety. But they are going to be split up into different sections so that if you need to take a break or split these up as you need, you can. These are the Utah State Office of Rehabilitation CRP Services new forms, and this is June 18th, 2019. We are looking to have these forms go live and active as of July 1, 2019, so in just a few days. So let's jump right in. As I mentioned before, we're going to be splitting these forms up into different sections, and we thought we'd kind of roll along with the process as a client rolls through to make that easy for you. So I'll be jumping back and forth from the actual form and the presentation, and so you'll get to see the form as well as we'll talk about different pieces. But before I get to that, I'd like to just talk briefly about the purposes of why we needed to update these forms and why we're doing this. The first need was to just address the need for consistency. We needed some consistency among all CRP provided services and the documentation of those services. We need consistency on for our VR counselors and for you, the CRPs, to be able to have a consistent way to provide documentation, and so that you're not doing multiple different things and getting required to do multiple different things from counselors. We also wanted to improve our partnership and collaboration with you between the USOR staff and CRP staff. We wanted to improve our communication and be able to find ways to not make the program too complicated, but at the same time still get the appropriate and necessary information. And lastly, we wanted to improve any issues that we were seeing with billing and authorizations. We feel like these forms are going to help with that. And so as you go through, you'll be able to see what different things will happen as you're going through the forms, how that will help with the billing process. Okay. So first, you'll notice that these forms are going to be numbered, or they are numbered, but the numbers don't necessarily go in order, but over time we feel like you'll get used to which numbers and which forms will correspond to that number. So this first form is our referral form. This is a referral to the CRP from a VR counselor to provide services other than a work strategy assessment. Other than a work strategy assessment. So if you are providing services, for example, a IPS assessment or a customized employment discovery, this is the form that you will receive to provide that service. We wanted to make this a team effort, as we talked about in previous trainings, that you're going to be receiving as much information from the counselor as possible before you begin your assessment. And this is something that we felt like was an appropriate request from your end, and that we wanted to make sure you knew that we were hearing you, and that we felt like that was an appropriate change, that more information needed to come from the counselor about the client. We also heard that it was a source of communication breakdown if there were no referral forms involved, if you just all of a sudden received an authorization for a client and was expected to do the assessment. So we are making this mandatory for the counselors to provide this referral form to give you information to go ahead and do your job. Okay, so with that, and as you notice on here on this page, the service date for these services are the date the assessment is initiated. So that is the service date. When you initiate the service, that's the service date. And the billing is when the team gets together and the form is signed. That is the billing date. Okay, so I'm going to jump to the form 98. So we have, it's referral for CRP assessment is the title of this form. As you notice at the top, this form is going to be completed by the VR counselor and then sent to you, the CRP. And so you will receive this from the counselor, and it's going to provide you with the necessary information to move forward with your assessment. As we'll get to the details of it, but as you notice on top, there's check boxes that the counselor puts in, and then also client information as they move forward. So depending on which type of assessment they're asking you to provide, they will check that. Let's say this is a pathways referral, and they're going to check that and then list the information about the client as they go down the form. Obviously, there's basic information regarding the client, which CRP they're sending this client to, which would be you. And then if there's any guardianship information, we want to make sure you have that. The first part is very basic info, but sometimes that is left out, so we wanted to make sure you have it. Also, again, there's some more check boxes about what type of service provider is giving services as the extended service provider, whether that's DSPD, whether it's a mental health provider in the IPS model, a partnership plus provider, or other. Then we want to make sure that you understand what health insurance benefits this client has, so that you know what they're coming to the table with as far as health insurance, as well as any Social Security benefits. If they have either SSI or SSDI, those boxes will be checked. And if benefits planning has been completed, or it's pending, if it's scheduled, and then there's going to be a benefits summary that the counselor will write in about that to give you more information about the client's benefits. Below that, there is any other benefits or services that may have been done for the client that are appropriate to let you know about, that the counselor will fill and give you information regarding the client's benefits and or other services that they are currently or have received, so that you know going in what the client has received or is currently receiving. As we move down, this is also, again, the counselor is filling this out. So the counselor is going to describe what the client's current work skills are, what their knowledge, skills, and abilities, and how that pertains to what they want to do moving forward and what they currently have. Then they're going to talk about what they see as maybe their skill development needs are, what they see possibly needing to be done in order to be successful in a placement. Then below that, there are 3 spots for listing what their interests are, their job interests. This hopefully will be helpful in guiding you to look in certain areas, but oftentimes, the client may provide some information for you that is also on top of these 3 listed. Then the next box below, as you can see, is information about the client's interpersonal and social skills. We want to provide you that information so that you can know what you're going to be seeing with the client, what we understand as far as their social skills and their interpersonal skills, and then with your assessment after this, you'll be adding to that. Below, then we want to look at any assistive technology needs that the counselor has identified. So whether they have glasses or if they've been referred to UCAT already and they're utilizing a device or they're in the process of that. Any information regarding any AT we want to list there and give you that information as it relates to their employment. Then after that, any communication needs. If they're in need of an interpreter, if there's other communication barriers that you will need to know so that you're not going into that unaware of any communication needs, we want to provide that for you. I know that all of you can, read these boxes. I just wanted to provide some basic information and some background so that you're aware of the need and why the counselors are filling this out. Excuse me. Forgot to turn off my phone. Sorry about that. Okay. So as you see, then ADLs. So daily living, as what do they need? Is in the form of any hygiene help. Can they prepare their own meals? All those different things that people do on a daily basis. What's their level of skill there? And the counselor will talk about that for you so that you understand and gives you a better picture of what the client is presenting with. And then there's some additional information that we felt was important to provide you, and that were, the first one being any family supports and or issues that could come up in the process of job development, job placement, etc., that is necessary for you to do your job. Then we want to list any criminal background issues, or if anything has been expunged, anything is still pending, if court records don't match with what is on their background, things like that. Okay, so that'd be where we would list those issues, and then below that is where we're going to be talking about what their academic levels are, how they were in school, and that may include some behavioral information. That may just be a simple, discussion about how they handled school and what their strengths were, maybe some of the weaknesses. But there'll be some information regarding school. Then this last section, again, that the counselor is filling out. This is your information. This is who they're referring this client to, and the assigned employment specialist / job coach. Okay. Some companies don't specify what title, and everyone in the company does everything. Some companies, they have different titles and different responsibilities, so we left that open because of that. But we are going to list who that is, who is the person accepting the referral, and are they ACRE certified. So this is another place for us to verify the certification, as well, if it's appropriate, the CE certification. That the counselor will double check that, making sure that they are certified, and then they are going to sign and date this, that they have completed it and they are sending it to you. Okay, so let me jump back to the presentation quickly. Again, this is all the VR. There's going to be a report that you're providing that's individualized based off of what type of referral it is. And so if it's a discovery, there's still a discovery report that CRPs have been trained on what to do, and that will accompany the report, obviously, when discovery is completed. Now I'm going to move on, because the next is a little bit different. This work strategy assessment, we are looking more at a team approach, where this is a working document where it's going to be filled out by you, the CRP, as well as the VR counselor as the referral form, if the work strategy assessment is the assessment that the counselor feels is appropriate from the start. Again, as I mentioned before, the work strategy assessment referral form, or just referral for an assessment, was a consistent source of communication breakdown. We wanted a professional yet standardized template for reporting. We felt like it was important to have it standardized statewide, but at the same time provide a professional manner to document the assessment. Many of you do very well and have a great structure for your reporting of the work strategy assessment. But at the same, as I mentioned before, we wanted this that all counselors were receiving the same form, that you were being asked to do the same reporting from your assessment. Okay. Again, so the service dates and billing dates are the same as before. That's the service date being the date assessment was initiated, and the billing date is when the form was signed together after you all come back together. Okay, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay, so this is going to be form 94. Okay, as you notice at the top, it's called the work strategy assessment. This form is to be completed by the VR counselor, the CRP, and the client. And so this, as I mentioned before, this is a working document that everyone is going to be involved in and that everyone can sign off on. And I'll show you what I mean. So the first part, as you notice, the counselor is going to be completing section A. This is the counselor referral page. And so if they're referring for a work strategy assessment, this is the form that you will be receiving with section A completed. So as you notice, the first part, I won't go through all those lines, but as you can see, that's the basic information of the client. Again, if they have guardianship, then that will be listed. Then the next box is the referral question. This is the question that the counselor is posing to you, the CRP, wondering, what they want to know about the client, what direction, why they are referring to you and asking for a work strategy assessment. What is the basic question for the client from the counselor? Okay. Then we're going to go through the resources available to the client. Again, these are check boxes that the counselor will complete so that you can have a quick glance to know what the client has and what services they have or don't have. So as you can see there, you'll know if they have an extended service provider with SJBT. They will not have that. But if they're in a different, you're being asked to do the work strategy assessment for someone with supported employment, then they will have that extended service provider. Again, health insurance and Social Security benefits, there are check boxes there, as well as benefits planning if that has been completed, if it's pending, or if it does not apply. Then there will be a benefits summary after that point. We definitely we're asking the counselors, and we have already trained the counselors. I failed to mention that we have trained them on these forms, and they have been informed of what just what the expectation is and the policies are regarding these forms. And so they understand what their role is in filling this out, and that they need to provide more information to you, the CRP, as you're getting ready to provide your assessment. Okay, so again, as you see these boxes, the counselor will be completing these, and then a benefits summary of what benefits are being done. After that, what different things apply to the client, what are their current work skills, what are their abilities, what are some of the limitations, and then what skill development needs do they have? What do we see could be improved so to allow them to be successful in a placement? That's what the counselor is reporting here. Again, 3 spots to list any interest that the client has, different job areas that they're interested in. Oftentimes they may have more than 3. Sometimes there might just be 1 or 2 listed there. But we are asking the counselor to provide those. After that point, they're going to be listing again what the client's interpersonal skills and social skills are, so that you have some good information going into the assessment and can move on from there. Again, any AT needs, any communication needs. These boxes are a little bit different from these next boxes are a little bit different from the referral form, in that we'll also list any behavioral and self-regulation issues that the client may have that will help you in your assessment. So there's already some behavior information going into it, and the counselor has done their portion on that. Again, then there's some activities of daily living, such things as what's their level of hygiene awareness and any issues there. Can they prepare their own meals? Can they get themselves ready and dressed for the day and look appropriate for the jobs that they are attempting to obtain? Then below that, again, there's some additional information. We definitely want to provide you what we know and what we have seen with the family, if appropriate. If that applies, then what supports the family can provide and the level of that support. Then we want to list the criminal background again, any issues there. The school and academic information will be important as you move on to your assessment and what level they are academically and how well they functioned in school. And that is the last section that the VR counselor completes. Again, this is a working document that will be in our system that you will receive a referral, but then you can access this form as the counselor sends it to you and you're going back and forth. The section B now is the place where you document what you observed in your assessment. Okay, so this first section is the work assessment, where when you are conducting a worksite assessment. This is the section that you will document that, where you are observing the simulated or true work activities. Okay. Again, if you have questions related to what those are, you can refer back to Form 60 or the CIE document. That will give you some good information of what we're looking for to complete and what needs to match there, so that you're not going down the wrong road. Some areas to assess and to report on. We would like to see with this worksite assessment what their soft skills are. How do they interact? How do they handle different situations? And how do they work with other people at their job, coworkers, supervisors, etc. Okay. We would like to have you write up the job experiences. What happened there, what the work sample, what did you observe, and list what the transferable skills you noticed, what can go to other jobs. These are the skills that we saw here, and this can be moved from job to job. What interpersonal skills you saw, and then what if the client was interested in the position. Now, you'll notice this box it looks pretty small, okay? But there is a space there, and we have let our counselors know they're not to require additional forms or documents to get this. So this is the space that you have to provide that. And so that'll be there and available to expand. Okay, then we obviously want the location provided of where this worksite simulation was done. Okay, so we want to know where it was completed, and these different bullet points you'll list in those observations. The next part we want you to list are the natural supports, an assessment of the natural supports. Again, the bullet points give you a guide on what to look for and what to report on. There is, in parentheses, you'll notice 1 hour there, where we feel like a good guideline of how long that this should take you, and that we want to authorize for and give you. And so we definitely can give feedback on receive feedback if that needs to change, but we felt like that was an appropriate amount of time. Again, you'll notice with the work assessment site that was given as 4 hours. The next section, we will want to look at life skills, and again there's bullet points there of areas to address and report on. Okay, so again, their appearance and hygiene, what their self-care issues, and what you noticed in self-care, and also the financial literacy for the client, how they understand their finances and or any training or help that they'll need in that. The next box, we want to look at their transportation assessment. And so you will assess and report on these areas about their transportation, if they take public or private transportation, and other options that are available to them, and then you will report in that box. Below that is a computer skill assessment, where there basically are very few, if any, positions anymore that doesn't have some interaction or interface with some type of computer, whether it's simply clocking in to the job. And so we want to assess what their skill level is with that and report back to the counselor. Then you will conduct an interview skill assessment and have an hour to check into those skills. And then there's another box here for other observations that might be different than what you saw in these other areas that you would like to list. Below that, this is where you will list your recommendations and what you're suggesting to the team are the appropriate services that you are looking to provide for this client. So you'll see from these boxes that of how many planned hours in a week you are looking to help out with job searching, what any life skills services are needed, and you will list that in that box, and the hours below that. You're going to list the target occupations and which ones you're going to be focusing on, and then just remember that needs to match either if they have already voiced something or you're recommending a different area, you can list that in the recommendation section below. Okay, so let me get on. So this section B again is the CRP conducting that, and that is what we're asking you to fill in. Section C is the team section, where you all come back together, the CRP, the VR counselor. If DSPD is involved, they're part of the team, a support coordinator. You support coordinators are listing that we definitely want you to feel like you're part of the team, and obviously the client. We are going to be listing here the CRP name, who the assigned employment specialist and or job coach is, again verifying that they are ACRE certified. Then we are going to, the VR and CRP are going to list here together the recommendations for job development support. So what is being recommended for job development? Below that, together, the team is going to list what the recommendations are for ongoing supports. For example, job coaching. If that is a recommendation, that's going to be listed there. Below that, the job goal is going to be listed, and this must match what's already in or will be in the IPE for the client. Then you're going to list some basic information about the industry, what the targeted pay range is. Does this job industry usually provide benefits? What type of work are you going to be seeking for this client? Is it full-time? Is it part-time? What type of shift work are they interested in? And you're going to be listing that here with the client so that they understand it and sign off on this. And when I say sign off on this, that's literally what I mean. So both all three, the client, the CRP provider, and the VR counselor are going to be signing this document together and dating that so that everyone is on the same page and has complete understanding of how to move forward. Just quickly reading this paragraph above, says, by signing this form, the team acknowledges that the job goal and parameters outlined above will be the focus of their services for this client, and that any desired change to job goal or placement requires documented agreement by team prior to implementation. So if this form needs to change, then everyone agrees upon the change. Okay? So that is our basic understanding of the work strategy assessment, what we're looking to do. We felt like this is going to help again with communication, maybe breakdown in communications, problems we're having there. We want to work with you at a professional level. We feel like you provide a professional service, and we want to give you the tools to provide your job appropriately. We feel like you do a great service for our clients, and we want to make sure that we're doing our part. So again, this is the first part of our training where we're just simply going over the referral and assessment referrals for either work strategy assessment or otherwise.